Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Takeout Effect, brought to you by Business Takeout. Business Takeout brings real conversation in business. I'm your host, and my name is Banki. Today's guest has over 20 years' experience in the IT field and is a veteran entrepreneur. I would like to introduce everyone to Trevis Sandy. And Travis, can you tell everyone more about who you are and what you do?
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Trevis Sandy, and I started my company, Signa Technologies. Signa Technologies is a small business IT consulting firm based in Toronto. We provide managed IT services to small businesses. Actually, not just in Toronto, but we have customers in the US, Las Vegas, out in Florida, as well as a customer out in Kenya. We provide ongoing day-to-day IT support. We provide services in terms of buying computers, servers, network equipment, and provide training as well. We've been around for 14 years. That's when I started the company. Prior to that, I worked in the industry for roughly around 12 years for various IT firms, and then I decided to take the leap and start my own business.
Okay. So yes, which brings to my next question. How did it all started? How did you birth Signa Technology?
I think for myself, I've always had this entrepreneur, I guess, bug inside of me. Even in the Caribbean, my grandmother taking me to the market to sell stuff that we would grow in our farm and garden and whatnot. And I was always there with her, helping her with the money and the cash flow, and placing the items out on the tarp to sell. So I always had that inside of me. And coming to Canada in '87, going to high school over here, and going to CDI college and studying IT. After working in the industry for X amount of years, I decided that I want to actually do my own business. Not that I didn't enjoy working for a company, but I always wanted to sort of like, run my own ship. And I think from youth, I always had that mentality, and I took the leap and I did it. And 14 years later, I'm still in the industry, managing my own company and providing services to a lot of different companies out there in the medical field, in the law firms, all sorts of industries.
That's amazing. I can relate to you on the level that when I grew up, I was born in Trinidad, grew up in Grenada, grew up in both places actually, and before coming to Canada. And I can tell you that in Trinidad, my aunt had her own shop, and in Grenada,
Mhm.
my grandmother had her own shop, and I was able to, see a lot of the transactions, things that was going on, and I think that actually contributed to my entrepreneurship spirit as well. So
I
that's
think
amazing.
so. I think a lot of us have that from the Caribbean inside of us. It's whether or not we want to, burst out and do it and take that leap.
Exactly. So what are some of the challenges have you faced on your journey so far?
Luckily for me in technology, I haven't really faced that many challenges. I think one of the biggest things is staying up to date with technology. Um, as you know, it changes every single day so fast. As an entrepreneur, we had to, back then it was Windows 95, Windows 98. Now we have Windows 10.
Hmm.
We have Office 2019. We've got smartphones. We've got apps. So it was very easy back in the days with the dial-up modem, um, and Netscape as the browser. And now you have Amazon. Back in the days, who used to sell only books. Now they run an entire an IT industry. So the challenge that I've come across is just staying up to date with all of these things while trying to maintain my day-to-day customers, trying to maintain my internal bookkeeping of the business, educating myself on what's new and what's not and whatnot. So that's what it is.
No, I get it. I was having a conversation with my son, and he was mind blown that, back in my days growing up, I had a black and white TV, and I really didn't know about computers until I came to Canada, and it
Yes,
and it
yes.
saw like
The clicker television.
so you've been in this business for 14 years,
Yeah.
right? And now COVID-19 hit. This is something that have never you've never experienced in history of your existence on Earth. How did that affect your business, and how did you pivot?
For myself, again, there wasn't really much of a hindrance when COVID hit last year. I was always thinking ahead. The cloud was already something that I was doing. I've got a server rack in a data center. We sell business phone lines. I've got a lot of my customers' infrastructure in the cloud, so to speak, in the data center. So some of them were already in that space. So for me, it wasn't really an issue of what am I going to do? Oh my gosh, COVID is here. How am I going to make money? Some of the other customers who I was kind of like knocking on their door, whispering in the ears years ago to go to the cloud, they've they finally got that picture. And so I've
Yeah.
been really, really busy since COVID hit, migrating a lot of my customers to Microsoft Azure, AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, and G Suite on the Google platform, and my own private cloud as well. We sell business phone lines, we host servers, we host virtual computers. So we were already in that space, so there wasn't really much of an issue for us when COVID hit. I think anybody who is in technology, this is a time for them to flourish. This is a time for them to take advantage of what's available out there in terms of Amazon and Microsoft Azure and 365, because a lot of companies who do not know what these things are, this is their time to educate these end users and these businesses of what it is and the importance of having a system accessible remotely. Terminologies like remote worker, cloud services, SaaS, software as a service, and all these terms. This is the time for anybody in IT to be able to educate these businesses on what these technologies are and get them to that place. So for me, it was honestly real easy. One of my busiest times, to be honest.
Okay. Well, busy is always good.
Yes, oh yeah.
So growing up, being a black young man venturing in the IT business, I know growing up, I didn't know many people that was doing IT. I knew that you were doing it, but I didn't know that many other people that were doing it at that particular time. Have there been any challenges, any type of discrimination when it comes to? Um,
For myself, no. I think I was always more concerned about how I looked in their eyes as a young 21, 22-year-old kid at the time. Um, I worked for a company called CGI, a gentleman by the name of Daryl Shaw. He worked there as a vice president, and I always sort of like wanted to be like him in a sense. He was a VP of an IT company called CGI. And I thought, wow, technology, IT, that's amazing. A black guy in the industry. And I've always sort of like, kept that in my mind and wanted to sort of like do that. So I never really had um, any discrimination by any of my customers. They've been very good to me. I think it's also about your approach, right? How you present yourself to these individuals. There's not very many of us at the time. There were not very many of us in IT. Now there is a lot of women in IT in the management level. A lot of guys my age and younger in the technology industry, whether they're doing help desk, whether they're doing support on the Cisco side or the firewall or cybersecurity. So now I see a lot of young black guys getting into the industry, which is great. But I never had any sort of like issues from any of my customers or anybody, you know, any sort of discrimination. I always wondered for myself, how do I look in front of them? Because I knew as a young black guy, there's always this notion, who is he? What is he going to do? What can he do? Is he smart enough? And so I made sure that I always had to stay above approach, educate myself, and just present myself in a good way where, they have no choice but to ask me anything they want.
that's good. So, and how do you stay on top of it? I mean, the IT world is a community that's constantly evolving. There's so many changes. I've expressed, we both expressed that throughout our lifespan so far, and we're only in like our 40s, right? Um, I've expressed that there's been so much changes that we've seen within the lifetime of technology, so we know it's constantly evolving. How do you stay on top of it?
Yes. So like I said earlier, that is one of the challenges that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, um, your 24-hour day is like literally 18 hours of work and the rest is sleep. And so you have to find time to read the magazines, to read up on to watch MSNBC, watch the tech talk shows, go online, purchase new smartphones, purchase new devices, play with it, learn it, understand it before it gets into your hands. Because when you get into your hands, it's not working, you call us. So we need to be able to know how to fix it, how to troubleshoot it, how to install it, how to configure it. So the challenge is to always stay on top. And the way I go about doing that is by always reading. I'm always online, always looking at what the news in technology is saying. Um, it's always changing, like I said, terminologies, machine learning. What is machine learning? Right? Now we have IoT. What is IoT? Internet of Things. So we have to understand what all these terms mean and how we can implement them in the environment for our customers, whether it's a company like UPS, who we installed a bunch of wireless access points in the distribution center 2 years ago, or whether it's a small marketing firm with 10 people down the street from my office. So we have to know what these terminologies are uh, to give to our customers. So always stay on top. Magazines, online videos, listening to other colleagues of ours in the industry, seeing what Microsoft is doing, Amazon is doing, seeing what they're doing overseas in Asia. It's a challenge, but we have to always be on the forefront because where else are you guys going to go if we don't know it, right?
Yes, I agree. As a graphic designer myself, I constantly have to stay on top of it, see what's new, what's going on, and really see what other designers are doing, how is the
Mhm.
industry I'm doing evolving,
Yes,
and just seeing what's trending. It's a constant learning.
it
Um,
is. It
but
is. It is. I mean, years ago, we looked at smartphones coming out. We had the Razor Edge, then we had the iPods, and then we had the Apple with the orange and the blue and the purple color.
yeah,
Now it's totally changed. It's on your cell phone. You have tablets. You can take out the screen and turn it into iPads with a stylus. So it's always changing, right? And it's just a matter
exactly.
of educating yourselves and learning the technology so we can bring it to you guys.
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
So, how do you, in terms of work-life balance, um, how do you manage all of that stuff? I mean, you're a father, you have a significant other. How do you do it all?
Well, I think between working home and trying to have a social life, I manage pretty well. Um, like I said, you have a 24-hour day, but really, as an entrepreneur, whether you're in IT, whether you're in the marketing industry or graphic design or um, uh, aesthetics industry, you have to find time to educate yourself. You have to have that downtime to reset and reboot yourself. At the same time, you also have to spend time with your family and also don't ignore your customers. For myself, I enjoy sports. I enjoy playing some basketball and running and whatnot. I enjoy spending time with my daughter. She's amazing. I enjoy a home time. I enjoy being in the office. I enjoy reading about technology. So for me, I've been able to manage all three fairly well, and that has allowed me to really, be where I'm at today.
Amazing. That's
Mhm.
really amazing. For me, it's always been a challenge.
And it will be a challenge, right? It will be
Yeah.
a challenge. Home life is a challenge, uh, kids growing up and daycare and school and finances, mortgages and whatnot. Then you have your work with your customers and making sure you meet their deadlines and you manage the expectations. And then you have your own personal self to worry about and think about and look at in the mirror every day and say, well, where am I in life? Am I where I want to be? And so I think having a balance is very important, especially now with a lot of mental health issues going around. I think it's very important to take time out and um, just relax and just rest and reboot yourself and reset yourself and set goals and whatnot, right?
Exactly. For me, as a mother, two businesses, my son's doing virtual school, needs help.
Yes,
Also finding time to exercise, to,
it's
do me.
challenging. It's not easy. Yeah, it's very challenging, but you have to do it.
That's
I think what they say is, anybody who starts a business, the first 3 years will make or break, and that will determine if you're going to be in it forever. You lose a lot of money, a lot of sleep. Some people, unfortunately, lose family members, right? Because they really believe in that dream. They're passionate
exactly,
about it, and nothing is wrong with that, right? As long as you give it your all. But you don't want to put your health at risk. You don't want to lose yourself to the point where your friends and your families are worried about you. Um, but I think it's important to take time out and just manage that balance.
exactly. Because at the end of the day, you have to survive to your business to thrive, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. So if someone else was if there's someone that's watching the show right now
Mhm.
and they're looking to start their own IT business, what tips or suggestions would you tell someone who needs to have an understanding of where to start or how to organize it or how to be successful in that field?
I think technology is a great space to be in right now. There is a lot of opportunities. Um, you think IT, you could look at it. There is programmers, there is web developers, there is app developers, there is network technicians, repair laptops and computers. There is cybersecurity. There is all sorts of different areas you can get into technology. So anybody who's looking to jump into it, I would say one, understand all of them, know what you want to do, educate yourself. Because the worst thing you want to do is jump into this industry, then you get overwhelmed of the technology, or you happen to be great as a people person, you get all these requests and you don't know how to do the work, right? So when I was in school at CDI College, I quit my job at the CN Tower and I went to work at CompuCenter back in the days because I wanted to be around computers. I quit a paying job at $18 to get a paying job at like $11 it was or whatever at the time, just because I wanted to be in the space of computers and chips and memory and hard drives and all that stuff. So anybody who wants to be in any industry and you want to be an entrepreneur in that industry, I suggest you take a part-time job in that field, learn the inner workings of opening to close and what the products are, right? And so anybody who wants to get into IT and try to do their own thing, I think it's a great time to get into it. You don't have to worry about modems anymore. You don't have to
Mhm.
worry about Windows, older version of Windows anymore, or even hard drives. Hard drives on computers are literally uh, the size of a bubblegum stick, the thin ones.
Imagine.
Whereas years ago, hard drives in a computer used to be the size of your cell phone, two times
Mhm.
that, right? And
Exactly.
so it's changed so much, right? Understand what machine learning is, the adaptiveness of it. Understand what IoT means, Internet of Things, sorry. Um, know who Amazon, Google, Microsoft, learn the services that they're offering. So anybody who wants to get into it, I suggest they learn these technologies, get the designations, get the certificates, and go out there because there's a lot of business out there to get. Right? It may look as though Amazon is winning and Microsoft is winning, and yes, they are taking a huge bulk of the market, but there is enough small businesses out there. You, myself, anybody who's doing a business, we need each other and the services we provide to one another, right? And so I would say go ahead and do it. It's a great industry to be in. It's very lucrative, and the trust is there once they see that you know your stuff and your product very well. The areas you want to focus on, I would get into cybersecurity with everybody working from home, everybody accessing stuff remotely, VPN access and whatnot in the cloud. Cybersecurity is and is going to and will be bigger than it is right now. So internet police, in layman's term, is going to be a job that pays well down the road. So get into it. Government is putting a lot of money into training for cybersecurity right now. Um, learn as much as you can about it. It's big, not just for men, women as well.
Yes.
Ev-
I fully get it. There's so much that you can gain from just if you know you want to do something, get closer, to get as close to it as possible. And there's so much
Yes.
you can gain from that. Is being in the environment, learning from the best procedures that people are doing that are in the field you want to get into, and you'd be able to adapt into it. I can tell you that you can go to school and learn everything that you want to learn, but really what it comes down to is how you deliver it in when you
Yes.
actually do the work. You know, I know my dad would describe it as a construction worker. You
Hmm.
can look at the blueprint all how you want, but when you get to the actual construction site, is
Yep.
the soil solid? Like
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
it's just all of those things. So I think all of those are great tips.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for 14 years.
Yeah.
Day after day, you're a veteran entrepreneur. You've been doing this.
Well, I started just in IT, providing IT support, opening computers, 14 years ago, upgrading the hard drives, installing Windows, installing Office, and I ventured into telephone systems, setting up phone systems for businesses, Nortel, Panasonic, um, Avaya phone systems, Cisco phone systems, and 10 years ago, sorry, 8 years ago, with voice over IP becoming a thing, I decided to go ahead and start offering business phone lines to businesses. So we sell phone lines to small businesses at $30 per line. We provide voicemail. Right now, we have customers who are at home with their telephones. They take it, plug it into the internet, and they can call each other's home by extension. You can take the phone, plug it into the internet jack in the Caribbean, in Germany, in China, in Africa, and it will work. So voice of IP is a technology that I've adapted to, and I learned about it, and I started doing that services, selling those services. I also got into security, security systems, camera systems for businesses, and also fob and access cards. Uh,
Mm,
I got into doing Cat 5 and Cat 6 and fiber optics cabling for construction companies. So we have an array of services that we provide to small businesses. And for me, it's been great because I get a lot of my clients from these general contractors who I do work for. The blueprints you mentioned, they send me the schematics of the building or the office space, and I
mhm,
provide a price based on the workspace or the desk for every user. Every desk requires a telephone jack and a computer jack, so the cables go from that endpoint into the server room. So I hire my guys, and they come and they run the wires, and we terminate, and we get everything working. I've gotten into all sorts of different areas in technology, not just one piece of opening a computer and fixing the hard drive or whatnot. So you have to sort of evolve, and you have to sort of grow with the industry and and the technologies in order to grow your business. You cannot stay doing the same thing over and over again, otherwise you're going to be left behind. Funny thing is, someone told me jump on the cloud, like in the very beginning, and I didn't because I
mhm.
was kind of hesitant. I'm like, why am I going to give Amazon and Microsoft my money? They're taking away from the little guys. But I realized it made my job a lot easier, and customers didn't mind that. And so I learned their technology and I resell it as a reseller, as a Microsoft partner, as an Amazon partner. And so if you're going to be in the industry, in whatever you're doing, don't limit yourself to one thing only in that space. See what other areas you can offer in the same space.
I agree. The more value you can add to your customers, the better chances they will stay with you,
Yes.
because they can come to you and they don't have to worry about any all the other things that surround the services that you provide. You're
Yeah.
really giving them more value for being with you. So I think that's awesome. One thing that you've mentioned in our conversation this week was some of the grassroots tactics that you had when you started promoting your business. You mentioned that you would talk to someone in an elevator that you don't
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
just to let them know the type of services that you do. Can you talk?
Yeah. I think personality, well, for me, I'm not a shy person. So I'll be in an elevator going up and down with strangers. How you doing? How was your day? talking about the leaf games, the ball games, or whatever. Oh, by the way, I provide IT services. I'm on the fifth floor of the building. Oh, by the way, I'm here to look at some stuff for a customer. Do you need any services for your business, or are you an office manager? So I'm always talking to people that way. I've literally done the door knocking and handing out brochures and flyers. I mentioned working with certain general contractors because those are the guys who work with the realtors who know who's going to move into that office space. And when I work with them, they have their painters, they have their flooring guys, they have their drywall guys. I'm the communications guy, so I do all the wiring, work with Bell and Rogers. I do all of the IT stuff for them. And before you know it, customer will call me and say, "Hey, I know you ran the wires for our office space. What do you recommend for a computer? What do you recommend for cloud? And what do you recommend for a firewall?" And so, knowing all the different technologies, I'm able to provide an answer to them, right? And working with the GCs, the general contractors, or anybody for that matter, uh, word of mouth has allowed me to grow my business.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, any future goals for Signa Technologies?
Right now, I think the cloud is where everything is. We want to continue to grow with the cloud. We've just recently migrated a small business of about 25 employees to the cloud. We're doing one end of the month, about 120 users. And so we're going to stay in that space, and we're going to focus on cybersecurity for the next couple of months into the new year next year, 2022. The idea is to become a cybersecurity audit consulting company, or that's going to be part of the company. We'll do pen testing. It's called penetration testing. So we'll do pen testing. We'll basically dig into your network, look for holes, and see where we can get in, and we'll notify the customer that you have a flaw in this area or a flaw in that area. Things like weak passwords or bad hardware from the wrong manufacturer. So we're going to stay in the cybersecurity space and grow that part of the business while maintaining our day-to-day customers that we have.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. So, if there's a business out there that's watching right now, a business owner, and they want to reach out to you for IT services, how can they contact you?
I see that on there already. So they can easily contact me in the office, 416-449-2000, or via email. My email address is there. I will come into your office, do a small audit or consultation. That will give you a bird's eye view of what you have in terms of technology, security, and whatnot. And then once we go away, we'll give you an estimate of what it will take to bring it up to par, or what it will cost to provide ongoing support if you don't already have somebody. Some of our customers, they are on a monthly retainer, so they pay regardless. And some companies will pay only when something breaks. The beauty is in technology, it breaks all the time. Thanks to sometimes the software will do what it wants to do, or with Windows updates, the hardware will not work the way it's supposed to work. And so you guys don't know how to fix it, so we'll always be on call. But yes, my information is there. Feel free to reach out to me, and we'll be glad to come and visit your office and help you with whatever you need.
That's amazing. Thank you. Trevis, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. And
thank you, same here.
I learned so much about technology that I didn't know before. I need to get to the cloud.
We'll get you there.
All right, definitely. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Takeout Effect. Have yourself a wonderful day, and see you next week, same time, Thursday at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
Good night.